All right. Meanwhile, this new Fox News polling showing President Biden opening a narrow lead over former President Trump. That is within the margin of error, but Biden is up 5 points now since March. Breaking down the vote, we see men breaking for Donald Trump. Meanwhile, white women with college degrees largely going for Joe Biden. So let's bring in Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Great to see you, Governor, and we'd love for you to weigh in on what we're seeing, state of the race. What do you see?
You know, I don't actually put a lot of stock into national polls. I think the place that really matters is the issues that are driving voters, and they'll ultimately pick their candidate of choice on. And when you look at both battleground polls and issues that drive voters, the economy, the border, national security, Trump is dominating in all of those. I still think this is his race. He has clearly been the front runner since the day he announced, and he has not lost that status, whether it was in the primary or the general. And I fully expect that he's going to win and win big in November.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and both sides can make an argument. But I think it's probably the first decent poll that Joe Biden's gotten in some time. And maybe it holds and maybe it doesn't. But your point is well taken on the issues and also the battleground states. As we pointed out last hour, Donald Trump lost the national vote against Hillary Clinton by 2 points, but won the race.
Yeah,
and then in 2020, he lost to Joe Biden by 4 points and lost the election. Go ahead.
Democrats can certainly make an argument. It's just not a very good one, because on the things that really matter to voters, the big difference in this race that you have that is very different than anything we've seen in the past is that you have two people who have already served. They both, it's not just what they're talking about, they both have a record of service as president. One has a record of success. When it came to the economy, our country was doing extremely well. We were booming on all cylinders that you test economic success by. Donald Trump was leading. You look at the border, something that has become even an issue for Democrat mayors are speaking out against the failures of this administration. Donald Trump led on that. That's an issue that voters care about. National security, we were safe at home and abroad. That is no longer the case. Biden has got us engaged in conflict across the globe, and those are big, big contrasts. Because both of these people have been president, it's a very different election in that sense, and the reason that people show up and they cast their ballot, those are all places that Donald Trump is absolutely crushing Joe Biden, and I think that's why he'll crush him in November.
Do you worry when it comes to the women vote, abortion motivating voters where abortion is on the ballot, those states where that is relevant? Sarah, do you think that's going to be an issue again for Republicans?
I think that's what Democrats want to make the issue, because they think it's the only place they have any leverage, because they know on all those other things I just listed, they lose. So they're trying to make this entire election about that. I don't think they're going to be successful, and I don't think that it's going to ultimately impact the final tally on Election Day.
Well, we've looked at some of the demographics, and we pay very close attention as you look at the current power rankings. What you see in yellow there on that map is what we consider to be two toss-up states: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. Michigan and Minnesota leaning Democrat, and we're going to see how they break. But you look at the numbers here. Trump has regained his support among men, so he's back to that double-digit lead. Okay, Biden has slipped about 8 percentage points with women, and with African Americans and Hispanics, we're seeing Trump, in the polling anyway, do better than what the outcome was in 2020. But when we compare that polling to the same moment 5 months out in 2020, we saw weakness among African Americans and Hispanics then, and they eventually came home. Do you believe that'll still be the case as of today?
I don't think that that's home for African Americans or Hispanics. I think they're looking for a new home, because what they've experienced under this administration has not been positive. They haven't been doing things and passing policies that empower those communities, certainly not in the same way that Donald Trump did. I think they're looking for a new place to go, and they found it in Donald Trump. I think these numbers will continue to grow and expand as people look at both of these two individuals, and when you look at when was my life better, was it under Donald Trump or Joe Biden? I think the answer is extremely clear, and that's why more and more people are breaking in those communities for Donald Trump.
Okay. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, always appreciate when you can join us. Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thanks
Governor.
for having me.
Yeah, you bet. We'll talk again soon. We'll get a sense of what the folks are saying in Arkansas, okay? Thank you, Governor.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.